Hi, I'm Julie Harris with Tim and Julie Harris Real Estate Coaching and eXp Realty. So let's talk about how to prepare for a listing appointment. It's all about pre-qualifying your sellers before you go to the appointment. I like to call this don't go if you don't know. So what should you know? Let's go through 7 quick points and make sure you know the answers to all of these questions before your next listing appointment, and really before any listing appointment. So don't go if you don't know things like, number 1, what price does the seller have in mind? Don't be surprised when you go there with your well-executed CMA, but the seller says something that's 50 or 100,000 over, or maybe even under, surprisingly, occasionally, right? So don't go unless you know the seller's price in their mind and how did they arrive at that price. This is all in your pre-qualification scripts. Point number 2, don't go if you don't know, are they buying and selling? Your strategy might be different if they're going to buy with you or buy somewhere else, if they've already bought and they've got a house that they absolutely have to sell ASAP, or if they're only going to sell if they find, or if you find for them, something that they've got to have, right? So your strategies can be very different and you don't want to be surprised when you get there. Don't go if you don't know the current average days on the market, not just in your town. You probably have that memorized, but what about in their subdivision, their MLS code, their zip code, or their school district? It's not going to always be neck and neck with the days on the market in your town. Sometimes it's dramatically less, and sometimes, especially in certain markets, as you go up in price, the days on the market stretches out. You don't want to go with the false expectation that it's going to sell like that, when in fact the average days on the market might even be 90 days. It all gets down to setting expectations. Remember, super secret, top secret stuff here. Your job is to be the listing agent when it actually sells. That means don't get fired because you set false expectations. Now, number 4, similar to number 3, don't go if you don't know the average list to sell price ratio. When you list it at the right price, can that seller and you, the listing agent, expect to sell it for full list, maybe a little bit over list? Or are homes just like that who have recently closed tending to sell for maybe 5% less than list price? It matters. You're going to go there and do net sheets for your sellers, right? So you've got to keep track of that average list to sell price ratio, not just for your town, but for that subdivision, that neighborhood. Okay, number 5. This is really important. What is the seller's actual motivation to sell? Why are you going there? Why are they actually selling? Are they only going to sell if they get their price? Maybe their price is realistic. Maybe it's not. Remember, number 1 was what price do they have in mind? Maybe they absolutely have to sell. These are your favorite sellers, sellers who have to sell. In other words, it's not really up to them whether they sell or not. Those are the core reasons, like death, divorce, relocation, can't afford it anymore. Sometimes they haven't seen the upstairs in 20 years because they have health reasons to be downsizing or going to a condo or assisted living. Do they have to sell, or do they just want to sell if they can get their price? Again, your strategy is going to be different on both, right? And if they have to sell, you have to find a way to take that listing. Even if it's a little bit overpriced, that's okay. You've got to be the one, again, that is the listing agent when it sells. Okay, point number 6, and this is one that you really need the pre-qualification script to get comfortable with. What price can't they go below? Okay, and that's a little bit different question than many of you are used to asking in today's market. What price can't they go below, right? So point number 7, what happens if it sells right away? And what happens if it takes a month? What happens if it takes 2 months? They need to have a plan in place so that you don't take them a really great offer. Here's what's happening right now. Instead of having multiple offers in a shifting market, you're still getting offers fairly quickly, but maybe it's your one and only offer, and you don't want that seller to say, well, let's keep it on the market a little bit longer, see if we can get more, when probably we're getting back to that being your only offer and your best offer. So what happens if it sells right away? What happens if it takes a little bit of time to sell? So you've got this. These are 7 questions that you shouldn't go if you don't know. Why? Because you can get really surprised when you get there, and that can cause you to be nervous and lose your confidence and ultimately lose the listing. So those are 7 basic questions included in a great pre-qualification script. Now, to find out more about Premier Coaching, just go to timandjulieharris.com so that we can help you further with this. You got this. Good luck on that next listing presentation.